Energy, pain, recovery, and longevity. They're all connected, as we know. My guest today believes that most people simply aren't broken, they're just not treating the right problem. I'm Laura Baker with Living Well with Tommie Copper, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Dr. Lisa Koche. Dr. Lisa, I hear you prefer to go by. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes.
You have a very impressive resume here. I want to get into this. So, you started as an internal medicine doctor, then you have a bariatric medicine and anti-aging and regenerative medicine practice as well, right? And now where we're located now is your brand new offices, and you're the founder of Spectra Wellness Solutions, and you have been nationally recognized. I've gotten a chance to walk around your building. It's very impressive.
Thank you. It's been quite the journey.
I bet it has. And I know it's been a couple of decades in the making. One of the things that you really focus on is how to help people feel better long term. And when you started in internal medicine, you felt like you were treating the problem and not necessarily where it's coming from, where it's stemming from.
Yeah, so I like to say I was gifted with childhood leukemia at the age of 15. So I actually chose internal medicine. I'm unique in that I got the message younger than most people. So I was old enough to ask why I got sick, but I was young enough that I wasn't indoctrinated. So I didn't have to backpedal. I actually went to medical school asking why, understanding that medicine was not wrong, but was incomplete. And so when I went to med school, I'd watch people come in with different complaints. Nothing fixed their actual why either. And so I just decided I was going to have to go figure it out. And internal medicine seemed like the broadest approach to the human. So I went into that field for that sole purpose of trying to figure out why people got sick. Back then, there wasn't a functional medicine arm. So as time went by, I was able to continue to ask my questions and then seek out answers that I had to do on my own. And that's been my entire 20 years of my career.
So what do you think is missing in that area when people go to their main doctor and they go for a problem? What's missing?
Unfortunately, it's many things. So everything from the basics of that most people know now, of basics of nutrition and sleep, and even things like light and how we respond to circadian rhythm and how we live day in and day out. Like, I think our society, what's missing is our understanding of societal, what we've accepted as normal, and ancient rituals slash just the way that we were, where we were connected to the earth, where we were connected to each other, and those things are missing. So when medicine became somewhat hijacked by big pharma and controlled through drug reps and money, third party insurers, and then eventually conglomerates, the beauty and the practice of the interaction with the human has been lost. And that's what I think is probably the biggest thing that's been missing.
I think when we hear the term functional medicine, people might get very scared of that, right? It's not something that they're used to hearing about. So how do we simplify it in terms to help them understand what it is?
So that's a word where essentially it's a catch-all on the journey of trying to discover why people are sick. So traditional medicine and traditional medical schools are great at, when you come in with a diagnosis or a problem or an acute issue, knowing how to treat that. There's protocols, there's surgical interventions, there's a lot of wonderful things. So when people take an either or stance, that really bothers me, because that's not the case. There's a place for everything. So I think functional, where the word has come in, is it's the diagnosis of maybe you may have a diagnosis, but understanding what is the root cause. So could it be something like leaky gut, like an infection, like a problem with your nervous system, like a disconnection, what's that cause? Why it got called functional, I don't know, but that's what it is.
So basically what you're saying is you go to a primary care physician or you go to a specialist and they prescribe certain medications or certain therapies and drugs and those types of things to moving forward. But that's maybe treating the problem, right?
It can help.
It can help, but it doesn't stop the problem from continuing forward until you find the root cause.
A lot of times. And then even when you find the root cause, it requires also additional work that with yourself, like spiritual reasons, why you're disconnected from source or from your higher self or from your soul or from your passion. So it goes even beyond that.
So there's a lot of people that are dealing with daily pain, daily stiffness, and that type of thing. How do you combine what you're doing to help them feel better?
So what I do is when they come in, a lot of times they've seen pain management, they've been to orthopedists, they've really seek neurologists, other people to help them with the chronic pain. We'll look for potential causes. So could it be living in mold? Could it be that they have an undiagnosed thyroid problem? Like we'll search for those things, and a lot of times hormones. Like women will get tendon issues or problems with joints and ligaments. They need hormone replacement therapy, and they get a lot better. So we can fill in the gaps. Plus, we can bring in other modalities that maybe they hadn't thought about that can help the pain.
What are some of the most common problems that you see people coming in here that traditional medicine is missing?
Well, fatigue is number one.
Yeah.
So people are very tuned in to when they're losing that edge, right? So if they're just tired, they wake up feeling like they haven't slept, they crash at 3 in the afternoon. Like these are patterns we hear from almost everybody. Tendons, pain, like general pain, joint pain. We get a lot of hormonal symptoms. We get a lot of gut symptoms, a loss of vitality. Those are
Yeah.
probably all
And I
the
mean,
big
as you
ones.
age, you start to feel that happening too more and more.
For
I mean,
sure.
I notice lately I'll be like, why am I so tired?
Yeah,
So,
all of us.
yeah, it really does. It happens to everybody. So, when you talk about the root cause, what actually does that mean for somebody who is dealing with the aches, the pains, the exhaustion, the tiredness?
So it can vary, but we're in a toxic world, unfortunately. So a lot of times it can be toxin exposure from the stuff they're spraying in the air to drugs that the patient may be taking to, all types of exposures, and it's cumulative over a lifetime. So looking at ways to get toxins out of the body can be super helpful. Sometimes it's overusage of antibiotics, and then people get a lot of joint issues. It could be a chronic infection floating around. It could be just overuse and the tendons aren't healing the way that they used to. So it's a varied answer there on potentially where the pain can be coming from.
Yeah, it's very complicated, and a lot of times some things just in your home are causing a basic problem too, is what I'm starting to
Absolutely.
read more and more too, which you don't even think about it when you purchase something. So when we talk about mitochondrial health, which I know you focus on a
Yes.
lot, right? How does it matter so much for the energy, the healing, and all that? How does that change as we age?
So mitochondria are fascinating. So we're taught in school, like high school biology, and then truthfully, even in medical school, that they are a bean-shaped structure that's inside our cells. So they're in all of our cells except for our red blood cells, and they produce energy. So it's important to understand what the mitochondria do, but even that explanation of them is not complete. So we're now understanding that mitochondria are in fact quite dynamic. They change shapes. So one of the most fascinating things I've understood in the past few years is they do something called spaghetti and meatballs. They get when they're very sensitive to their environment. So they're almost like the canary in the coal mine. The mitochondria are constantly sensing, are you safe? If they're out there sensing that there's not safety, which could be any numerous thing, something in your home, like you said, a virus floating around, a fight with your partner, like they don't know the difference. They become meatball shaped. And it's just like humans. We want to go into a fetal position and they stop working as well. They can't make as much energy. If they're healthy, and to get them to that healthy spot requires the safety signal. So the body has to feel safe. Then they go and actually stretch out like spaghetti. It's really wild. You can see it on electron
Wow.
microscopy. And then when they're stretched out like spaghetti, they share resources. So they're actually notice, oh, my friend needs an electron. Oh, my friend needs this. Oh, I need that. And they share just like communities do.
I was watching a lot of your videos on Instagram,
Hmm.
and I've noticed you talking about releasing trauma and how that's one of the most important things you can do for your body, and that people don't realize how much their body hangs on to trauma. So how do we fix that and release it in order to get that back?
Yeah,
Right?
I love this question because it's something I've had to learn over the past 10, 15 years on my own because my body had so much trauma as a 15, 16-year-old from all the procedures I went through, and I didn't realize they were still hanging out in my fascia. One way, there's numerous ways. The biggest advice I would give people is understanding that it's even a thing.
Hmm.
All of us have trauma. It could be getting lost when you're two. Like it doesn't have to be extreme abuse, but we all have varying levels of abandonment, of relationship issues, of self-sacrificial behavior. Like, we all have it, and it could be physical trauma and exposure. But what happens is we all focus so much on just working on our physical body, we don't understand that these traumatic events hang out in our tissues. So, ways to get them out, number one, is acknowledging that. So, just sitting with it. When you feel emotions, instead of poo pooing yourself and just moving forward and being ashamed or not willing to be vulnerable, take a minute. Just ask, like, what is this? Like, could it be grief? Could it be I'm feeling vulnerable? Could it be sadness? Could it be betrayal or fear? Just even sitting for a minute and acknowledging it helps it to go. But there's lots of different modalities, myofascial release, some of the light therapy beds that we have, vibration, journaling. Like, there's lots of things you can do. You can get an Epsom salt soaks. You can literally go sit by a tree. Connection to nature are one of my favorite ways
Grounding.
to clear. Yeah,
Grounding,
to clear.
yes. Hormones come up a lot when you're talking to all sorts of doctors, right?
Mhm.
And all sorts of different fields. How do you take the hormone approach here?
So the way I like to explain it is, if your body is a computer, the nervous system is the motherboard. It's sensing that safety, and then you have several backup systems, of which the hormones are one of the main ones. So when your body's under stress, your hormones get deprioritized, and this is primal, because if you were in stress or in a war, you weren't supposed to procreate. So we're talking about a signal that's primal. So you get hormonal issues, plus the hormones jump in as backup. So in men, their testosterone will back up from chronic stress, and we're seeing 20-year-olds with very low testosterone now. In women, it's predominantly progesterone, but in menopause, obviously, it's all the hormones. So most people in this day and age need some support with their hormonal system to be able to handle the impact that the chronic nervous system stress has like led to. And so we what we do is we take a close look at what the levels are doing. We'll replace them bioidentically, and we see a lot of great benefits, but it's the same point. That's not fixing why they're low. Like, our moms maybe didn't need hormones. Like, this, why does every woman need it now when they're menopausal? Like, these are questions that I ask. Why are younger and younger men needing testosterone replacement? Yes, it's great to have the ability to replace it, but replacing it, if it's not fixing the cause, what else is happening?
Are you finding what else is happening? Are you figuring that out?
A lot of times it's the unmet trauma.
Okay.
So that's one piece. I think the other big piece is disconnection from the earth and light cycles. So proper light, which we were so excited to get in this space where we could put healthier lighting. But people are in front of their screens, and the hijacking with the blue light is hijacking our circadian rhythm, which is closely tied into hormonal production. That's another cause. Environmental toxicity in general. So it's numerous things, the food sources, I could keep going on and on.
I mean, and that's one of the portions, or what's one of the parts, I guess you could say, that leads to chronic discomfort, right?
Yes.
Other things for people are they work in a job that has a repetitive movement, or some people aren't active enough. So how do we target those areas of chronic discomfort?
So I think that's a great question. I feel like this topic's come up a lot about, like, people that are working virtually and remotely. It became a popular thing. Meanwhile, you got people disconnected from humans, talking to a screen all day and sitting in one position. That's not good.
Yeah.
When you're in an
They
office,
don't even get out of their pajamas.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, I talked to a patient the other day who was telling me she had to go for an in-person job because it was like 1,000 times more applicants for the remote. That's just symbolic of a problem with society right now. Like, if you're in a remote job, you're not moving, so that can lead to pain. If you're in a job in person, a lot of times you're up and down. You're interacting with the customer, you're interacting with the client, so you're interacting with your coworkers. That helps. I mean, the body is made for movement. So, and also repetitive, like you said, there are ways ergonomically to look at the desk. We have a lot of people in this new space with standing desks, like the walking treadmill type, that you can create, the walking pads that are not expensive that people can put under their desk. So it just takes some thought.
when you're talking about long-term pain, it doesn't all of a sudden become long-term. There's a process to get there. So what are some signs early on for people that maybe they can start to target those and find the root
Sure.
cause earlier?
I think very often we'll just poo poo something. So,
Mhm.
again, it's like listening to the body. People are very quick to disconnect from it. So, if you start having a pain that you don't know where it's coming from, or a symptom that you don't know where it's coming from, just at least thinking about it. Like, where could this be? Could this be my mattress? Could this be the fight I had with my boss?
Mhm.
Like, just ask the question. Like, I'm feeling this,
Yes.
and the body wants to be honored. So just that mere second of like, okay, I feel you. Let's come up with a plan on how we're going to address
Do
this.
you think that ignoring it is maybe one of the biggest mistakes people make then?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So start it, recognize it,
Yeah.
and then what's the next step
And
after
don't
that?
overreact because it is a fine line, right? We'll have people that will panic.
Google.
Yeah. They'll panic and then think something is really wrong. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that either, but I think, like you said, if you completely are disconnected and ignore it, and it's a little achy pain, it can progress to something more regularly. If you notice it and you say, well, okay, well, maybe I need to, for example, I was having some nagging back pain. It was new. I realized I think it was my mattress, but I also realized I need to strengthen my back. So I went, I had some assessment, and most people aren't doing like lifting for their back muscles.
Mhm.
It's just not something we want to do, we think about doing.
Mhm.
It's kind of annoying. Like, I prefer to do cardio and watch a movie. so
Yes.
so like, I've invested in a trainer to really build up my muscle mass, because the older we get, the more muscle we lose and the more muscle we need.
Yeah.
So, doing action steps, and it doesn't have to be a trainer. You could just start walking, start being more mobile, really just try things. And if you're not
Mhm.
getting anywhere, go let somebody assess what's going
There's
on.
even exercise bands you can buy very
Oh,
inexpensively and do them at home that
absolutely.
can help strengthen core in different portions of your
Hmm.
body. There's a lot of people that are focusing on external support. They just have to get through the day. There's back braces that, we have at Tommie Copper, that we have red light therapy, there's compression clothing like crazy. How do those things help somebody who's not feeling well?
I think anytime you can find something that you can use daily and use it yourself and be able to have it relatively inexpensively, that is another way to commune with your body, to tell it, I'm listening, like, I'm bringing help in. But then there's also the actual technology. We know compression helps keep blood flowing and helps with gravity and edema and swelling, and like letting those vessels feel supported. We know light therapy has so many incredible benefits. So if you're getting the good frequencies and the right type, like a higher grade device, and using it more regularly, you're going to see the benefits more often than if you can just go in, once every few weeks.
Let's go back to compression just for a few minutes and talk about the benefits of that, because you started to dive into it. But I think that people sometimes misunderstand compression. They think that it's either for athletes or for its travelers or for somebody who is maybe a little bit older. But really, a lot of people can benefit from compression, can't they?
Pretty much everyone. So we have a wonderful device that is full body compression with some heat, and it's a detox. So that's the other thing you don't realize. It's like, if you're not moving around, if you're not as active as you want to be, compression can get that lymph system and the cardiovascular system to kind of just give it some love, support it a little bit more, have things move better, hold the posture, allow the fascia to move the way it's supposed to move a lot better than if you're not doing those things.
And I also, on your Instagram page, saw that you talk about how important posture is and how
Yes.
much it's connected to your mind, your body, your focus. I mean, it really is the core of your well-being.
Well, we don't notice it, right? So
Mhm.
it's another thing where, and these devices have everybody hunched. So
Mhm.
anything that will help bring
Yeah.
proper alignment back. I really believe in upper cervical atlas orthogonal, which is a type of chiropractic that puts C1 back in alignment, that really helps your
Mhm.
posture. But any of your different equipment, the clothing pieces that help reinforce that,
Yeah.
is just going to feed into the circuits when you're subconsciously wearing, wearing them, there's still a subconscious message. Your body is sensing where it is in any moment. And if it's in this hunched over, slouched position, staring at a screen,
Yeah.
that's where it's going to stay.
You're actually wearing one of our posture
I
support
am.
items right now.
I am, and I really, really like it because we all can get better posture. I mean, we all
Yeah.
have that tendency. And when you stand up and you're connected the way you're meant to be, the breath goes easier. You feel it's a higher parasympathetic response where you're more able to be in that peaceful zone. And I think we all get through our day and we're late for a meeting, we're, grabbing the kids, whatever it is we're doing, and we are not thinking about our posture. So any external tool that can help that is going to feed into helping us remember that.
And you have our Tommie Copper compression support bra on right
I
now.
do.
Which it helps. It's actually a shoulder support bra, so it helps to pull the shoulders back, down, and relaxed.
Yeah, and I've had some issues with that just with in general because when you're stressed, and it doesn't need to be like massive stress, but any kind of stress, if you do a little shallow breathing, you will not notice, but you're going to have these shoulders come up here. You're going to be breathing out of here.
Yes.
And I've worked on that for a long time, but it's nice to have on this device, this bra that is reinforcing how I'm sitting.
Yeah, I always say when you're stressed, your shoulders start to get closer and closer to your ears,
Right.
and you have to remind yourself to have good posture. When you're wearing our shoulder support bra, you don't have to remind yourself because it automatically pulls you in a real gentle manner.
So
down into
gentle. Yeah,
right?
it's like,
comfortable.
and it's nice because it also feels, for me wearing it, it feels like I've been it's reinforcing that I've been doing the right thing. Like it doesn't feel that different than what I've worn, I wear like whatever undershirt type thing I usually would wear. So I love that it is just showing me I am standing the right way. I am holding myself the right way. It's just a positive reinforcement.
You also had our compression leggings that were the knee and hip support, and you had our compression ankle socks, which we
Yes.
have, which are pretty unique. What kind of benefits did you see from those types of supportive items from Tommie Copper?
I think especially when you're seated a lot, being able to have the socks and the legs, it just is enhanced circulation. So ah, especially with me having a history of cardiac related issues, which I had from chemo. So luckily most people don't have the extreme issues that I had, but still people are sitting too much. You can feel the blood being supported coming back up the way it's supposed to. So many people, when they're seated for too long or when they fly, can get this collection of fluid that's in the legs, which is never a good thing. And again, having added compression support on the outside is going to help that. Now, it doesn't take the place of moving around. You need to be doing that, but like wearing something that provides added support, like these products do, has really helped.
I just love that we have extra tools in our toolbox to help us feel better every day.
Always.
I mean, and that's
we
what's
need them.
amazing. And that's what you do here, really. You're another tool in the toolbox. One of those things that we have at Tommie Copper that we share with you is red light therapy. So we have different red light therapy for the joints, for the back, for the neck and shoulders that you can put on your body and use at home. You have one here that's really impressive. It's a whole body machine that you get into, but it essentially has the same concept. So why do you believe in red light therapy also?
Oh my God, so much science. So everything I do is pretty much evidence-based. And when you understand that the cells literally have photoreceptors, like this was the first thing I think people had to accept is we respond to light. Like our cells have receptors made for wavelengths of light. So red light therapy has been shown to help everything from nerves regrowing to inflammation to collagen production. It's almost like an unlimited list. And we see a lot of benefit with pain and wound healing. The bed that we have, I've seen it close surgical wounds where people were told they'd have to go back into the operating room. And we've been able to get patients on the bed a few times a week because it's a much more potent wavelength of just the power of the bed, and heal the open wounds, and they haven't had to go to the operating room. So that's pretty exciting. But when you can continue it at home, with the type of equipment that you guys have, it keeps it going.
Well, and red light therapy isn't a one and done treatment. No.
It's
At all.
definitely like takes time, and the more cumulative exposure, the better. So
And I'm having a hard time sometimes convincing. My mom is a great example. So my mom has a lot of back problems, and she has the red light therapy belt. And she goes, "It feels good," but I can't convince her to use it twice a day, or every day. And so, how do you convince somebody that you go from "it feels good" to "it makes a difference"?
yeah, it's hard because it's going to take them, it depends, but it might take people even a couple months to really notice significant change. I try to get patients to understand that a lot of these interventions take about 3 months. So if you're going to like really be dedicated to one, just choose it, commit to it, and reassess after a longer period of time. And
Yeah.
that's what we have to do.
And the science really is supporting red light therapy completely.
There's
that it
there's
absolutely works.
yeah, there's so many scientific studies, and everybody is now talking about it. It's a little more well-known thing. You have to be careful about the wavelengths and that you're getting it from a properly vetted source, which is why I like what you guys are doing.
Yes.
But that, like, as long as you're doing the right research behind the device you're using, the benefits can be huge. I mean, everything from facial rejuvenation to joint pain to the back pain that your mom's got, it can help all of it. Even neuropathic type pain, which is typically really hard to treat.
Yeah, it really does make such a big difference. And it's so easy to do. That's what I like. It's non-invasive.
So
You can do it
easy.
as often as you want to, and you really start to feel the difference as you start to commit to that too. It's sort of like
100%.
I always say, you don't go to the gym on day one after Christmas and lose the Christmas weight that we gain, right?
Exactly.
You have to
It's a
commit to it a
routine,
little bit.
and it feels good, and you don't the other nice thing about red light is it doesn't have to be in isolation. Like, listen to a podcast, do some learning, take a course. Like, for the most part, you can be listening to things while you're doing the therapy.
When you're talking about protecting your body, your joints, the muscles, and all of, and for long term specifically, how to protect our body long term, what would you suggest?
Number one way to protect your body long term is to put on muscle. That would be what I would say. So when you at any age, and if you start putting on muscle younger, it's easier to keep it on when you get older. If you can focus, we've been such a cardio kind of driven society.
Yeah.
Because we thought it was tied, more tied to the weight loss. And I think that as the science has come out, we're seeing the muscle mass to be as, if not more important. So putting on muscle mass, using recovery and compression support as you do that, finding what works for you, whether it's like, if you're going to watch TV anyway, can you just be using super light weights? You can you can buy light weights for pretty cheap and find relatively safe workout routines free on YouTube. So like, it's not like it was in the past where you have to have a trainer. Now, I have to have a trainer because I don't really love lifting, but I know the importance of muscle mass.
Yes.
So when we talk about long-term, like preventing injuries, preventing balance issues and falls, helping you protect your bones, like muscles where it's at. And then just staying active, because it's not just muscle, it's also flexibility, muscle, balance, flexibility, and just activity, and obviously what you're eating.
Well, and I mean, what we're eating is prime on the news cycle right now because, we're starting to change how we focus eating protein first and eating more protein.
Yes.
In order to build that muscle, which is what you're talking about. As we age, that muscle is so important, but so is stability. We tend to start to fall and trip, and our body doesn't. So what would you do about that? What would
So it is tied into muscle. So the stronger you are, you will have a better balance in general. And reaction time can be tied to your mitochondrial function. So the healthier you are with what you're eating, with hydration, with the general environment you're living in, along with doing flexibility exercises. So whether it's things like myofascial release, or just getting stretched if you're not going to stretch yourself, considering something like yoga. I have a lot of men who never would have done yoga that are now thinking about it. Just stretching those muscles. And again, you could be watching TV. And you can learn stretches that you can do yourself.
If you could leave people with just one foundational principle that you think that would help them feel better every day, what would it be?
So there's many things. I would say the main is understanding there are free and easy things they can do today. So my favorite is as soon as you wake up, go outside. And this is a hard one because everyone, the second they wake up, is on their phone. So if you can find a way to have, even if you have to grab your phone, put it on a YouTube guided meditation and try not to look at those notifications. Walk outside, kick your shoes off, lean up on a tree and take 5 minutes. Gratitude. Sit, receive the energy from the sun. Hopefully the sun is rising, and ask the tree to help you release what is not yours to keep. That is easy. It's free. Everyone has access to a tree. So that would be what I would start with doing that's easy. And then, build from there. Walking, movement, all the things we've talked about.
Tell us how people, I know that you're based here in Tampa, Florida, but you are actually doing some things for people internationally that want help too.
Yes. We actually, now that we have our new center, we're only 5 minutes from the airport. So we have a lot of destination programs that we're working on where people can fly in for 3 days, 5 days, 10 days. We can get them on the right track, send them back home, and then follow up throughout the year with more virtual visits. We do some virtual consulting as well. But if they come to the Instagram page, my Facebook page, and I have a book coming out this year. I was saying next year, but now it's January. So December of 26, I have a book coming out that's called The Unwritten Prescription. So it's all the things that medicine has left out. So.
Can you give us a little sneak peek of what that's all about?
It's about just the science and principles of the things that are not considered when you go to your traditional doc. So a lot of what we talked about today.
What types of things are you looking forward to helping people here in your new center? And tell us the name of it, how they can find you.
So it's Spectral Wellness here in Tampa. We're looking forward to bringing community back into medicine. So letting people meet each other, letting people have one-stop shopping, pushing people to the edge. So we have 2 avatars. We've got the athlete type avatar, helping them get to the next level. And then we've got the person who's been just searching for answers, and we're hoping to help them find them.
Dr. Lisa, I have loved speaking with you today. You've been so informative and helpful, and I know that our folks at home feel the same way.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We hope today's conversation helped change how you feel about pain, where it's coming from in your body, and how to feel better long term. Coming up next week on Living Well with Tommie Copper, I'm going to sit down with exercise physiologist Heather Fletcher to break down how movement, strength, and smart training support longevity at every stage of life.